if we are honest, even those of us who are committed Christians, if we are honest, we have to admit that we struggle with doubt from time to time. We struggle with doubt because we have this idea. We struggle with the idea of doubt because we have the idea that if you doubt, you're somehow not a Christian. Or you're less than a Christian. Maybe you don't even know Christ at all in the first place. And we need to take time to consider the reality of doubt. And the first thing that we need to do is we need to develop some understandings about what doubt is and what it's not. We sometimes need to get the idea that doubt, if we have doubt, is terminal. Doubt is not terminal. We do need to take time to open up our eyes to see what's involved. Now, if I have doubt, the floor is going to open up, the abyss is going to swallow me, I'll be smothered in brimstone and fire and hell. No, that's not exactly what doubt is all about. Doubt is neither unbelief nor skepticism. Now, let's stop right there for just a second. Doubt is neither unbelief nor skepticism. Unbelief is a rejection or refusal to believe in God in spite of the evidence, in spite of His call on our heart. And it's not skepticism either. Unbelief says, I will not believe in God. Skepticism says, I'm not going to believe in anything. I'm going to be cynical. I'm going to be unbelieving about everything that comes along. Bertrand Russell, the famous atheistic philosopher, was once asked, what are you going to do if when you die, you encounter God? What are you going to say to him? And Bertrand Russell, in his arrogance and atheism, says, I will say to him, Sir, why did you not give me enough evidence to believe? Now here's the problem. What is the evidence that we need to believe? If you can tell me what is the evidence that will convince you, then I can attempt to produce that evidence. But if our life is built around skepticism, we don't know what the evidence for belief would be. Therefore, if we met the evidence for belief, we wouldn't know that we just met it. Skepticism poisons us so that we can never believe. I'll tell you what doubt is, in the very best sense of the word. Doubt is wrestling our faith into daily living. At its best, doubt is wrestling our faith into daily living. Doubt's kind of like a halfway house between confident faith and unbelief. It is the place where we wrestle those questions and we wonder and we struggle and we try to figure out how being a believer and a follower of Christ fits into life. And folks, there are a lot of devout, godly Christian people who struggle in those ways. Don't feel like if I have doubts, I'm a bad person. Pascal once said, seeing too much to deny and too little to be sure, I am in a state to be most pitied. And I'm not so worried about the person who says, I have doubts, I have struggles. I want the person who says, I have doubts and I have struggles, because what that means is that they're seeking. And God has this great thing that He does. When you start seeking Him, He gets right in your path so that you can't miss Him. I'll tell you who worries me is the person that is apathetic about the questions, the person who is indifferent, the person who doesn't care. And we have good reasons to struggle. There are the origins of doubt. All doubt is rooted in our attempt to understand the person, the existence, the nature, and the character of God. And so our doubts are serious, and we need to take them seriously. We need to understand that they are an important part of who we are. What is God like? Is He there? What's His purpose? What's His calling? What's His plan? Job, one of the great characters of the Scriptures, was a man that had doubts and that wrestled greatly. Now listen, we like the end of Job because everything's all good at the end of Job. We like the very beginning of Job because everything's all good. In the middle, Job was a person that would be really hard to give pastoral care to. In Job chapter 9, Job is listing all of the bad things that are going on, both in his life personally and in the world around him. And he's looking for the cause of these bad things. And he comes down, and some of these things are horrible and unjust. And then Job says this, listen, speaking about the horrors of the world and who caused them, he says, if it is not He, then who is it? If God is not causing the horrors of our world, then who is causing the horrors of our world?